Did you know that in recent clinical studies mapping the biology of aging, researchers discovered that a single acute period of severe psychological or physical stress can literally deplete the pigment producing stem cells in your hair follicles in a matter of days? We often hear the phrase, "You are giving me gray hairs," thrown around as a casual joke during particularly overwhelming weeks. But the biological reality behind this rapid change is anything but a laughing matter. It is one of the most profound, highly visible systemic alarms your body can sound when vibrant, active adults suddenly notice a rapid, dramatic loss of hair color, a phenomenon that can sometimes seem to happen almost overnight. It is not merely a cosmetic shift or a harmless, inevitable hallmark of the passing years. It is a brilliant, albeit highly urgent, distress signal from your internal cellular network. Today, we are diving deep into the fascinating, intricate science of rapid hair graying, uncovering exactly what is happening inside your biology when this occurs, and more importantly, what critical systems in your body might be in immediate systemic danger. In the United States, we are currently witnessing an unprecedented level of chronic low grade inflammation and oxidative stress among adults who are otherwise working tirelessly to maintain their peak vitality. Startling health statistics reveal that nearly 80% of American adults report experiencing physical symptoms directly caused by systemic stress. Yet the profound, lasting impact this has on our stem cell reservoirs is rarely discussed during standard 15-minute clinic visits. When you look in the mirror and see a sudden dramatic shift in your hair's pigmentation, what you are actually witnessing is the visible fallout of a massive silent neurochemical event. Your sympathetic nervous system, the ancient hardwired fight or flight mechanism designed to protect you from immediate life threatening danger, has essentially been locked in the on position, flooding your entire system with biochemical alarms. This discussion is absolutely not about vanity. It is fundamentally about cellular preservation and longevity. Your hair follicles are incredibly metabolically active microorgans. They require an immense continuous supply of energy, oxygen, nutrients, and precise cellular communication to produce the melanin that gives your hair its rich natural color. When a major stressor hits your system, whether it is a severe emotional shock, a sudden physical trauma, a grueling recovery from an illness, or a silent brewing metabolic crisis, your body immediately enters a state of physiological triage. It abruptly and efficiently redirects critical resources and metabolic energy away from these seemingly non essential processes, funneling them entirely toward your major organs to ensure your immediate survival. The sudden appearance of silver, white, or translucent strands is the undeniable physical evidence that this drastic internal reallocation of resources has occurred. Groundbreaking research has shown exactly how this happens. A flood of stress hormones, specifically a neurotransmitter called norepinephrine, washes through your sympathetic nerve endings right into the hair follicle. This intense chemical flood overactivates your melanocyte stem cells, permanently driving them out of their protective niches. Once they rapidly migrate away, they are gone for good, leaving the new hair to grow and completely devoid of its vibrant pigment. But why does this matter far beyond the mirror? Because if the stress response was severe enough to permanently deplete your melanocyte stem cells, it is an absolute indicator that the exact same inflammatory flood has washed over your heart, your brain, and your immune system. This rapid graying is a critical sentinel event. It warns us of a heightened risk for accelerated biological aging, sudden cardiovascular vulnerabilities, and the potential awakening of dormant autoimmune conditions. It is your biology waving a bright flag, signaling that your resilience reserves are being drained at an unsustainable rate. Yet, in this urgent warning lies a deeply empowering opportunity for clinical intervention. Recognizing this vital sign is your first, most critical step toward taking back control of your systemic health. You are not at the mercy of this biological cascade. By decoding the precise science behind these rapid physiological shifts, we can intercept the underlying danger and implement targeted evidence-based strategies to repair the systemic damage, ensuring you continue to thrive with the energy and resilience you deserve. I want to pause here for a moment because I know exactly who I am speaking to. You are someone who has lived a rich, demanding, and incredibly full life. You have built careers, raised families, supported communities, and weathered storms that would easily break a lesser person. But as a physician, I also know the quiet physical realities of that journey because I see it in my clinic every single day. I see the subtle wince when you stand up after sitting just a bit too long, the nagging ache in your lower back, or the stiffness in your knees that you courageously try to ignore so you can keep up with your busy, active schedule. I understand the deep, bone weary exhaustion that sometimes settles into your muscles after a period of intense emotional or physical demand. Perhaps you have recently been caregiving for a loved one, navigating a complex health diagnosis of your own, or simply carrying the heavy, continuous mantle of responsibility that comes with being the reliable rock for everyone around you. I want to validate exactly what you are feeling physically. That stiffness in your joints, that chronic muscle tension, that sudden drop in your physical stamina, these are not character flaws. And they are certainly not a mandate to simply sit down and accept the decline in your quality of life. They are the physiological receipts of a life lived at full capacity. Your body has been keeping the score. And when that score tips into the red zone of acute or prolonged stress, the systemic alarms start ringing loud and clear. This brings us directly back to the incredible biology happening on your scalp, which is intimately connected to those very aches and pains. To truly grasp why your hair can lose its pigment so rapidly, we have to look at the remarkable microscopic ecosystem of the hair follicle. Deep within each follicle resides a precious reservoir of what we clinically call melanocyte stem cells. These are the master cells responsible for producing melanin, the pigment that gives your hair its unique color, whether that is a deep brunette, a vibrant red, or a rich blonde. Under ideal, balanced conditions, as a hair grows, these stem cells steadily produce pigment producing cells that inject color directly into the hair shaft. It is a beautifully orchestrated process that relies on absolute metabolic harmony. But when you experience a severe stressor, that sudden life altering phone call, a traumatic physical injury, or a prolonged period of intense, agonizing worry, your autonomic nervous system violently shifts gears. Your sympathetic nervous system, the intricate neural network responsible for your primal fight or flight response, goes into absolute overdrive. For decades, the medical community mistakenly thought that stress only affected the hair through circulating stress hormones like cortisol in the bloodstream, which is a relatively slow, diffuse process. However, groundbreaking clinical research has recently revealed a far more immediate and shocking mechanism. Your sympathetic nerves actually have direct physical branches that wrap intimately around the melanocyte stem cell reservoir in every single hair follicle on your head. When a massive stress event occurs, these highly reactive nerve endings act like a high pressure fire hose, releasing a massive deluge of a neurotransmitter called norepinephrine directly onto those delicate stem cells. This chemical flood is utterly overwhelming. It acts as an extreme artificial activation signal. The melanocyte stem cells interpret this massive flood of norepinephrine as an emergency command to differentiate and migrate immediately. They rapidly transform into mature pigment cells and flee their protective home in the follicle, moving out into the surrounding skin tissue. Within mere days of the stressful event, the entire reservoir of stem cells can be completely and permanently depleted. Once they are driven out, they do not come back. The follicle is left entirely barren of its pigment producing factories, and any new hair that grows from that follicle will be completely devoid of color, growing it silver, white, or translucent. Furthermore, this massive neural firing is accompanied by a severe system wide spike in oxidative stress. The natural process of creating hair pigment produces hydrogen peroxide as a metabolic byproduct. Yes, the exact same hydrogen peroxide you might buy at the local pharmacy. In a balanced, resilient system, your body uses an enzyme called catalase to brilliantly break down this hydrogen peroxide into harmless water and oxygen. However, during periods of acute, severe stress, your body's antioxidant defenses are completely hijacked to deal with the systemic emergency. The catalase enzymes become depleted and simply cannot keep up. The hydrogen peroxide begins to accumulate massively within the hair bulb, essentially bleaching the hair from the inside out and further damaging any remaining cellular machinery. This dual assault, the nerve driven depletion of stem cells and the unchecked oxidative bleaching, is the definitive scientific explanation for rapid graying. More importantly, that exact same inflammatory storm and oxidative stress that depletes your hair pigment is the exact same biochemical storm that settles into your joints, exacerbating that morning stiffness we discussed and draining your cellular batteries. It is a stunning visual representation of a body that has been pushed to its absolute metabolic limit. But as we will see, it is also a map that shows us exactly how to intervene and heal. For far too long, the conventional medical establishment has frankly done a massive disservice to vibrant, active adults by brushing off these sudden physical shifts as nothing more than the inevitable march of time. How many times have you sat in a sterile exam room, mentioned a sudden change in your body, like a rapid loss of hair pigment, a sudden plummet in your daily stamina, or a new persistent ache, only to be met with a condescending smile and the phrase, well, you just aren't 20 anymore? This is one of the most pervasive and dangerous myths in modern healthcare. The idea that sudden, drastic biological changes are simply cosmetic nuisances or standard features of maturity is a medical fallacy that we need to actively dismantle today. When your body undergoes a rapid transformation, like graying seemingly overnight after a period of intense grief, trauma, or illness, it is not gracefully transitioning into a new decade. It is screaming for metabolic support. Dismissing these visible warning signs leaves the underlying engine of accelerated aging completely unchecked. Another deeply ingrained myth we must shatter is the belief that acute stress only has temporary, fleeting effects on your system. We are often told to simply take a deep breath, reduce your stress, and it will pass. But as we just explored with the permanent depletion of melanocyte stem cells, a severe stress cascade leaves a lasting biological footprint. If the sympathetic nervous system overdrive was powerful enough to essentially evacuate the stem cells from your hair follicles, we must urgently ask what that same flood of norepinephrine and oxidative bleaching did to the delicate endothelial cells lining your coronary arteries or to the microglial cells managing inflammation in your brain. The conventional approach is to wait until these invisible internal fires manifest as a major cardiovascular event or a severe autoimmune diagnosis years down the line. But you are not interested in waiting for a crisis. And as a physician dedicated to extending your health span, neither am I. We have to stop accepting the narrative that our bodies are simply wearing out and start recognizing that they are often actively fighting a biochemical war. We haven't been equipped to win because we are partnering in this journey to reclaim your biological resilience. I want to hear directly from you. Tell me in the comments below, have you ever experienced a sudden, undeniable physical shift, whether it was a rapid change in your hair, an unexplainable drop in your vitality, or a sudden flare up in joint stiffness immediately following a highly demanding or stressful season of life? What did that look like for you? I read your stories, and sharing them helps us all realize that these experiences are profoundly real and biochemically driven, not just in our heads. And if you are finding this deep dive into the truth of your biology validating and helpful, please go ahead and gently tap the like button so this vital information can reach other proactive adults who are ready to take charge of their health. When you like and share this kind of clinical truth, you help combat the final, most insidious myth we face, the idea that once this biological damage occurs, you are powerless to stop the cascade. The traditional narrative wants you to believe that the trajectory is entirely downward, that once the graying starts or the fatigue sets in, you just have to manage the decline. That is categorically false. While it is true that a fully depleted hair follicle cannot spontaneously regenerate its lost stem cells to bring back the pigment, meaning that specific silver hair is there to stay, the systemic environment that caused that depletion is entirely within your power to change. You have immense agency over your cellular destiny. The loss of hair pigment is simply the canary in the coal mine. It is the early detection system telling us that the oxidative stress burden has grown too high and the sympathetic nervous system is stuck in overdrive. By recognizing this false narrative of powerlessness, we can pivot our focus from the cosmetic aftermath to the systemic root cause. We can absolutely halt the inflammatory storm, protect the surrounding follicles that haven't been depleted, and most critically, shield your vital organs from further accelerated aging. Your body is a miraculous self-healing machine when given the correct raw materials and the right environment. Now that we have exposed the myths keeping so many adults trapped in a cycle of normalized decline, we are ready to build your defense strategy. Now that we have exposed the myths keeping so many adults trapped in a cycle of normalized decline, we are ready to build your defense strategy. This is where we move from understanding the why to mastering the how. And I want you to approach this with the same rigor you've applied to every major success in your life. To halt the systemic fire that rapid graying represents, we must implement a clinical protocol that prioritizes two things: the stabilization of your autonomic nervous system and the aggressive neutralization of oxidative stress. This isn't about general wellness platitudes. It is about precise metabolic intervention. First, we must address your clinical diagnostics. In your next consultation, I want you to move beyond the basic CBC or standard metabolic panel. You must advocate for a deeper look at your inflammatory markers. Specifically, request a high sensitivity C-reactive protein test and an assessment of your homocysteine levels. These markers tell us if that internal bleaching we discussed is currently active in your vascular system. Furthermore, because rapid graying can often be a surrogate marker for autoimmune activity or nutrient malabsorption, we need to verify your baseline. Ask for a comprehensive thyroid panel, including TPO antibodies, as well as serum B12 and folate levels if you are a Medicare beneficiary. Remember that many of these screenings, particularly those related to cardiovascular risk and diabetes prevention, are covered as part of your Welcome to Medicare visit or your annual wellness visit. Don't let these benefits go unused. They are your primary tools for gathering the data we need to protect your health span. Once we have the data, we move to the empowerment protocol for your daily habits. To quench the oxidative stress that bleaches the hair and damages the joints, we need to flood your system with high potency antioxidants, but not just through supplements. I want you to focus on the SIRT foods, those rich in sirtuin activating polyphenols. Think of dark leafy greens, berries, and even high quality extra virgin olive oil. These compounds don't just clean up damage, they actually signal your genes to repair DNA and stabilize the melanocyte environment. Simultaneously, we must recalibrate your sympathetic nervous system since we know norepinephrine is the chemical culprit that drives out stem cells. We must use physiological breaks to counter it. This is why I'm such a fierce advocate for breathwork and cold water therapy. Even 30 seconds of a cold rinse at the end of your shower can trigger a vagal tone response, which essentially tells your nervous system to stand down from its fight or flight posture. Moreover, we have to look at your metabolic sleep hygiene. Your body does its most aggressive cellular repair, the kind that restores your catalase enzymes during deep, slow wave sleep. If you are struggling with insomnia or interrupted rest, your body never gets the chance to clear the hydrogen peroxide from your system. We must treat your sleep as a sacred clinical appointment. This means eliminating blue light after sunset and perhaps discussing magnesium glycinate with your provider to help relax the muscle tension that often accompanies chronic stress. Finally, I want you to be a proactive navigator of your own healthcare. When you sit down with your doctor, don't lead with, "I'm getting gray." Lead with, "I have noticed a rapid physiological shift in my hair and my energy levels, and I am concerned about my systemic oxidative stress burden. I would like to review my inflammatory markers and discuss a protocol to optimize my autonomic resilience." This language signals to your medical team that you are a partner in your health, not a passive bystander. You are taking the visible canary in the coal mine and using it to demand a higher standard of care. This protocol isn't just about preserving the hair you have left. It is about ensuring that the engine under the hood, your heart, your brain, and your immune system is running with the efficiency and power of a much younger biology. You have the tools, you have the science, and most importantly, you have the will to reclaim your vitality from the inside out. This proactive stance is what separates those who simply age from those who truly master their longevity, creating a foundation of resilience that will serve you for decades to come. As we look forward, I want you to reconsider what you see when you catch your reflection in the morning light. Those silver strands are no longer a mystery to be feared or a sign of an inevitable decline. They are the marks of a body that has fought hard for you and a clear signal that it is ready for a new chapter of intentional, science backed care. Imagine a future where you wake up not with the dread of what might be failing, but with the profound confidence that you are in total harmony with your biology. By addressing the danger signaled by rapid graying, you are doing so much more than managing your appearance. You are safeguarding the very essence of your vitality. You are protecting your heart's rhythm, your brain's clarity, and your immune system's strength. This is the true definition of reclaiming your health span, ensuring that your years are not just long, but vibrant, energetic, and full of the activities and people you love. We often talk about aging gracefully, but I prefer to think of it as aging powerfully. Power comes from knowledge, and now you have the clinical insight to see through the myths and take command of your internal environment. The science of epigenetics and cellular longevity has shown us that our DNA is not our destiny. While we cannot always undo the shocks of the past, we can absolutely change the biochemical narrative of our future. Every nutrient dense meal, every moment of restorative breathwork, and every proactive conversation with your medical team is a vote for a future where you continue to lead, explore, and thrive. You are not a bystander in your own life. You are the lead researcher and the primary beneficiary of a body that is remarkably responsive to the right signals. When you provide your system with the antioxidant support it craves and the neurological calm it needs, you are effectively turning back the clock on your internal inflammation. There is a profound sense of peace that comes from knowing you have decoded the messages your body is sending you. No longer are you guessing or hoping for the best. You are operating with clinical precision. This journey we are on together is about more than just one symptom or one health topic. It is about a fundamental shift in how we approach the second half of our lives. It is about refusing to settle for the standard aging narrative and instead demanding a life of peak performance. The resilience you have built over decades is your greatest asset. Now, by pairing that hard won wisdom with the latest in longevity science, you are becoming truly unstoppable. I see patients every day who, after making these metabolic shifts, report feeling more focused, more energetic, and more physically capable than they did 10 years prior. That is the victory I want for you. That is the future that is well within your reach. As we continue to navigate the frontiers of health and longevity together, I want to ensure you have the most up-to-date, evidence-based tools at your disposal. This is a partnership, and your commitment to your own vitality is what drives the incredible results we see in clinical practice. It has been an absolute privilege to walk through this consultation with you today and to share the biological truth behind these rapid changes. Remember, every silver hair is a reminder of your strength, and every proactive step you take is a testament to your future. I am so proud of the work you are doing to prioritize your health span. To stay connected and continue our deep dives into the science of staying vibrant and strong, I invite you to follow this channel and subscribe to our community. By joining us, you'll ensure you never miss a discussion on how to protect your heart, brain, and cellular health with the most rigorous clinical strategies available. Together, we are redefining what it means to live a long, healthy, and truly victorious life. I look forward to our next consultation. Until then, stay curious, stay proactive, and above all, stay vibrant.